Hello and welcome to Flory Models Kit Review Time. Today we've got Great Wall Hobbies 1/72 scale. This is an F-14A Tomcat. Who doesn't love a Tomcat, eh? Absolutely gorgeous. Okay, so there's a few options of Tomcats around in 72 scale. But again, they're all getting a little bit long in the tooth, so it's actually quite nice to see a new one come out of obviously the upper end of them. Okay, so this isn't like a starter kit or anything else like that, so it's a little bit more expensive, but it is a lot more in depth. Okay, so anyway, as you can see, beautiful box art of the VF1 Wolfpack, as we can see. Okay, so then down in here, as you can see, we've got some gorgeous markings as well for the which one's that? That's the Black Aces, isn't it? VF41. Okay, as you can see down on there, we've got some kit number for this one is L7206, and we've got Wolfpack around on that side. All right, so in the box we have, wow. Again, total clearance. I haven't even looked in the box, so I'm quite surprised by the amount that's in here, to be honest. So we've got some clear parts, we've got some weapons. So that looks like Phoenix and Sparrow missiles. We've got the shoulder points down in there. We've got the pallets, and looks like we've got sidewinders down in there. Funny how they're not sort of bagged in sequence. So we've got ejector seats and the back pallets. Phoenix missiles. We've got the fuel tanks and the wheels down in there like that. We've got another one down in here which is all the gear, so there we go, that's quite nice. And then some of the bigger sprues, so we've got the wing sections, looks like we've got the inflation bags at the back, things like that down in there. We've got tails and various other bits and pieces, okay. And then we've got the engines and the nozzles. Okay, and then we've got one with the fuselage section, just like that. And then we've got another one just down in here with the front end and the cockpit. That's quite nice. And then the base and the back of it, as you might imagine, just down there. And then in here, looking, always check bits that are rolling around in the box, because you might need them. We have a beautiful set of decals, and we've got the little booklet. So, as I say, very much like the other one was as well, so we're assuming it is the same type of format, so it is. So actually what you've got is a little pamphlet type area like this, but it's got actually your sprue layout, so that's quite handy to have it off to one side, because when you've got multiple sprues, trying to identify them can be a little bit of a headache, but also you've got the greyed out areas for things that you're not going to be using as well. Alright, so it's nice and straightforward to identify those just like that. And then we've got the instructions. So as we might imagine, starting off in the actual cockpit, we're working our way down obviously through the seats and then all the internals for the cockpit as well. So we've got decals as well, making up for the instrument decals as with those go in. So seats being fitted down into this one, and then obviously we've got the various parts. So we've got the nose wheel well and making up, and obviously get a little radar as well down at the front. We can have it obviously with the nose open or closed as well, so if you want to show off the radar you can do again. And then obviously we got some of the showing the decal placements in here. Obviously you're not going to do those yet, well, you'll do those afterwards. But again, you can have the actual boarding ladder and the little foot plates open or closed as well, so nice touch. Then going down into the back of it, so usual thing with a Tomcat, you've got that sort of complex intake rams, so you can either have those open or closed type of thing, which is a nice touch, and then those parts making up the sort of main body of the aircraft, and then add in all the parts into it. Being an A type, the early A's had the front gloves as well, so you can have those as well. Obviously you can put them in and out depending which way you want to do it. Okay, and then obviously adding on some of the areas for the wing, so they're going to go onto it as well. It hasn't got like a mechanical link or anything else like that, which is quite nice because it's a little bit gimmicky, so you can just have one and put those on. But it looks like they're a nice slide on afterwards, which is ideal because then you can fit the wings at your leisure, and obviously for painting and things like that it's a lot more straightforward. Okay, tail hook, and then we've got the little fins at the back being fitted down into this one. Looks like we've got a nice one-piece intake system, which is going to be quite nice. So no big seams going to be running down in there. And again, more of these inlet rams as well for doing those. Again, you can have those open or closed if you want to. Fitting this all together, and obviously that is going to be the test to see how it goes. But it looks like they've done something very similar to how Tamiya did there. So they had this plate system in here as well. So it made for a better alignment between the rear end and the front with the actual intake system. Because to be honest, the Tamiya one was that good. I never even glued mine into place. It just clicked in and then that was it. So it's ideal. These use that similar type of system as well. So hopefully they've sort of got that fixed as well, so you won't have that usual seam line to have to take care of. Tailplanes being fitted onto this one then, and then obviously we've got the vertical tails as well. Then it's all the gear, which looks incredibly detailed, which is quite nice. And again, we can have it in the actual deployed position, kneeling. So Tomcat kneels down, as we call it, so it actually compresses the front strut so it can be hooked onto the shuttle and then be shot off the front of the carrier. So you could have it in a nice takeoff stance, if you know what I mean, with that one. Gear obviously will be fitted, and assuming you can just do it up and down if you'd like as well. So yes, we do. So we do have options as well to have gear up. So if you did want to do it straightforward in flight, you can do. Another nice touch with this one, obviously we can have it with flaps and slats deployed as well, and we got the spoiler-ons on this one as well, which are actually a little touch on this one, showing it on the tops of the wings to be fitted. So again, this is one of these things, you can have it powered down and folded up on the carrier, you could have it in flight, you can have it literally on the actual deck ready to take off, or in landing configurations. It's posable in every which way you wanted it. Okay, so that's really nice to see that on there like that. Exhaust obviously being fitted, and again open and closed. Famously that the Tomcat has one open, one closed during shutdown procedures, so you can model that as well. Speed brakes open or closed, as you might imagine. Another little touch with this one, and then the various things going through. So canopy detail being fitted down onto this one, the boarding ladder being fitted on, and away you go, all your aerials and that. And then your weapons, so obviously we've got your Phoenix missiles, we've got the Sparrow missiles and the Sidewinders, so you can fit those in. Be interested to see how many you get for different configurations again, so you can actually put a 6 loadout or a mixed loadout and things like that. Bearing in mind this isn't like a B or the D versions, so there's no going to be bombs, there's no going to be sort of, you know, strike pods and things like that on here. It's purely an air defense fighter at this stage. Again, weapons fit being fitted all the way through, and again different configurations, exactly how you wanted it. Painting guide, and again I'll be honest with you, I do prefer this era for the Tomcat, the A, purely because the Wolfpack is probably the most famous, them and the Bounty Hunters, for markings wise. Beautiful done in that one, very much reminiscent of me growing up in the 70s and obviously with the 80s, seeing that aircraft a lot and posters and things. So that's even before Top Gun came out. Okay, and obviously on here, so you got that light gold grey with the white, looks absolutely gorgeous, beautiful. Okay, so that's all good so far. Then we've obviously got a stencil data pull out for this one, showing the actual markings as well. So we've got Wolfpack obviously down in there with the light gold grey, and then obviously the white. And then down in here looks like we've got a little bit of a correction, which is something we saw in the last build as well. So there you go, have a good look round in there, figure out what it is. Sometimes they get their left and rights confused, seen it on a couple of their little builds now. Anyway, that gives you another idea from that one to have a look. Interestingly though, they don't have any placements for the other option. So it was showing on the box, I don't know, perhaps it's not, it's probably just a different one. This is obviously just the Wolfpack one. So we don't actually, yes we do, we have markings as well. So we do have markings for VF41, the Black Aces, but we don't have a colour guide for them. So you'll have to do your little bit of homework for placing it, let's face it, it's not rocket science on that one. Decals, again, really very nice. They're a little bit in matte in look, but actually they're really nice. And again, the colour isn't like a vibrant red, but I think it works really well with the actual scale of it. So I think they're thinking along the scale. They are very flat, so I think you might need to put a satin coat right the way across this thing before you do anything else afterwards. But as you can see, you've got everything you can need. So all of these ones down in here is stuff for the weapons fit and all those, so that's fine. Obviously this is your cockpit stuff down in here, various bits. And again, as I say, we've got these ones up here for the Black Aces, and then we've got the Wolfpack ones as well. So gorgeous, very, very nice indeed. Okay, into the plastic bits. So that starts off with the fuselage, and we've got my favourite knot, because I usually stab myself somewhere during this, and that is staples. Okay, so straightforward into the body, as you can see, really very, very nice. This is what Great Wall Hobbies do. Good, sharp, crisp detail. Again, this isn't a starter kit or anything else like that. This is more for your, you know, your guys been doing it a while, and your modeler who's got a little bit of experience, because it's not a straightforward kit. It's going to be, you know, but then it's highly detailed, and that's what you're actually paying for in this one. Again, just down on the inside, but you can see really very, very nice detail on that. All looks really good with the riveting. Okay, and then just down in here, we might as well stay with the close-up. You can see we've got the tail planes, and then obviously we've got the various coamings and areas. These are these little pegs, which is what the wings attach to, so that's a really nice touch. And again, all the little bits and pieces on this one, showing it right the way through. These are those forward gloves which are going to be, you can either have them open or closed. I think they go welded up quite soon, so not sure about that. Again, we've got no ejector pins in wheel wells or anything else like that, so that's really very, very nice indeed. Okay, pretty good, that's nice. Okay, so let's try and do this in some semblance. Okay, so down in here, again this is going to get complex. So down here, as you can see, we've got the underside, and again look at the detail actually down in the wheel wells, really very nice with the plumbing and all the bits and pieces around in there, and again actually looks good. And also I'm looking at these are big chunky locating areas, so I'm hoping because they're big and chunky like this, it should be really good solid fits as well. And again you can see down in here there's a little bit of strengthening work going around on there. This is these glove areas which is showing those, but again very, very nice indeed. Okay, and then we've got down in here, these are those intakes. Now as I say, that it looks very complex how they do this, but what they're guaranteeing is the sharpness of the moulding on the sides. You know, obviously the bottom, that's no problem, but when you come to doing the sides, you want it to be right the way round, and these actually are very, very nice indeed. So actually that's pretty nice. Obviously we get two of those, as you might imagine. And then down in here we've got obviously the guns and the various ventral bays and things like that. So this is the one for the gun. Some of the little parts on these, as you can see, right the way round. And then we've got this one down in here, and again detail down in here. This is for the radar system onto it. So actually very, very nice indeed. Again, this is going to be one of those kits that's going to just keep giving and giving and giving. Okay, so next up we've got the main areas. So I think if we start on here, we can see we've got the side of the cockpit, we've got the nose, we've got the actual, assuming these are the little plates for the sides, the nose gear. Look at the detail in there with all the plumbing, that's fantastic. We've got the tail hook. Obviously there's nothing in here because it's all going to be separate, and because of the differences between obviously the A, B and D versions, that's where this is slightly different as well. So these are why these are opened up. So what you can do is obviously if you've got the other version, it will have the different venting and the gun system onto it, so forth and so on. Obviously it has strengthening plates up on this one as well. Nice touch is obviously these intakes, so seamless one piece intakes, which is really nice. And again the details up around the canopy, which goes right the way underneath as well, so we've got all the details on the inside. But generally, as you can see, those are all very, very nice. We do like those. Okay, let's go next to the wings, I think. So again, really very nice with the wings, and again you don't see them because they're made up of so many parts, but you can see the detail in here already. That's all very good, clean, crisply moulded. We've got the fronts for the leading edge slats, which are moulded in one, so that's straightforward. And you can see we've got these nice locating points, how this is going to go together, making it solid. And we've got the strengtheners inside these as well for the wing where it slips in, so that's good. And then we've got the backside with the slats, sorry, the flaps down in here. That's really nice as well, right the way over. We've got the gear, so obviously this is what we're talking about, where it's fully extended and compressed, obviously for takeoff. We've got the little blades which run down for the across the back of the wings for the sweep. Got the fins, and we've got the bags at the back. Now these are pneumatics, so they inflate. These are black rubber to fill the gap between the wings when they're swept forward and when they're back. So that's nice. We've got the boarding ladder. Again, what's not to love about this is absolutely gorgeous, very, very sharp detail. Okay, so next big bag over here, we have multiple parts down in here. So we've got two types of tail. I can't remember which one's which now. I think ours is the one which doesn't have the big lump on the back, I think, of this one here. I've got a feeling that it's a different tail, but it's got the same similar parts. But you can see the level of detail in these. absolutely fantastic. We've got the underside down in here. Very, very nice, clean details, as you might imagine. And then, like we were saying, we've got, I think these are the tails we're after. Okay, it's got a slightly smaller lumps and bumps on the back, so I think this is the one for the actual version, the A. Okay, and again, great detail all the way around on these. Very, very nice indeed. Okay, and then this is the bag in the open position. So this would be if they're swept back, so there's a depression down in these as well for those bags. The pneumatic, the air system being put in. Got other wings in the up and down positions, as we were saying before, on sprue T. Very nice indeed. And then we've got this little guy down in here, which is the instruments and the various parts. So we've got the nice combing over the top, we've got the control stick, all the controls, the various parts down in here as well for making up the cockpit. So obviously we've got the pilot and the Rio station, Rio's combing, things like that. So that's very, very nice indeed. Good sharp details on all of those. Okay, so now we're into the little mini bag. So let's start in the engines. Can't get in. There we go. We're in. Okay, so you can see again, beautiful detail. So we've got the flame holder, we've got the nozzles open and closed, one piece nozzles all the way through, and there is detail on the inside of those as well, as you can see. Very nicely done. So obviously we get two of those. Okay, let's just put that out of the way. And then we've got all of these ones. So to be honest, there's probably not a lot of a point to go in these, but you see we've got Sparrow missiles in there, and then these are the sides and the rear parts for the Phoenix. Okay, so that's very nice for the Phoenix missiles. And then the rest of the Phoenixes are in here. So we just got the Phoenixes like that. Again, they've got nice detail all over them. And we've got some fins down in here for something else, which looks like probably sparrows. Let's have a look for sparrows. And probably. So again, pylons, all down in those, lots of pylons. And then down in here you see we've got the wheels. Again, nice good details on those. Got the fuel tanks, going to be underneath. Okay, that's not a sink mark, that actually should be there. There's one on each side. They have the little depression in the sides. Okay, that we'll look at. And then down in here we've got the pallets for the Phoenix missiles to go on, the racks on the belly, and then we got some sidewinders. So it looks like we've got 4 sidewinders down in there as well. So that's very nice. And then we've got this one down in here, which is all your gear parts. Again, it's in a nice bag, so we don't really need to open that one. You can see all the details in there. That all looks very nice indeed. Good sharp details. And then we've got this one in here, which we will look. We can't really see what's going on. So down in here we have another combing for rear instruments. So we've got the seats. So we've got a pair of ejector seats down in there. So we got those. Then we've got different cockpit ones. So again, depending on this one here, I think is for the D actually, or a later one, because it's got the bigger screen for the Rio at the back. So I think that's actually for a slightly different version. That's for when they upgraded the back one. And then we've got these ones down in here for the pallets. This is the rear part of the pallet, and obviously we've got that front combing just there. And then last up, we have the clear parts. So, get in the bag. So again, always difficult on smaller scales, but you can see how nice they are. They are absolutely beautifully done, stunningly crystal clear. You can probably see there, that's actually all of that very, very nicely done indeed. There you have it. That's absolutely a beautiful kit. Now I will say one thing, a question came up yesterday when we reviewed another one of their 70-second kits about the cost of the kit and how it is expensive. These aren't cheap kits, but now I think you get an idea of how much detail is in this one. Forgetting the thing about, obviously with scales and stuff like that, this is a highly detailed 70-second scale kit. So you've got all the details that you would find, and some, to be honest, on Tamiya's and things like that. It just happens to be in a more compact size, but it's definitely not lacking on detail, because look at it, there's piles of sprues absolutely everywhere. The sprue count is probably just as high as you'd find on any Hasegawa kit or Tamiya kit or anything else like that. And from my point of view, this look is more detailed than the Tamiya kit even, and I love the Tamiya 48 scale kit. I've built it, it's a dream kit, but it doesn't have posable anything. Okay, so technically you can't have it where it's on the cat ready to go. It doesn't have options for gear up, things like that, where this one has got all the options in a tiny little package. So don't be put off about the scale thinking, oh, it's a lot of money, it's a tiny kit. It's not really, because the bigger kits are twice the price of what this one would be anyway for bang, you know, type things on these things. But it may be small on stature, but it's massive on detail. When you look at all of this stuff down in here, it's just working to a different scale. So obviously don't be put off by 72nd scale these days. Been saying about it a lot recently for the last couple of years. 72nd scale's detail is on par with anything you find in 48 scale, and in a lot of cases supersedes anything even in 32nd scale. So small on stature, massive on detail. Anyway, that's the Great Wall Hobbies 1/72nd beautiful F-14A Tomcat.